All right, so this is a Buzzslayer interview with one Marc Willis, who just released Ape Shit, which is an awesome track. And in case, I don't know if you remember, but we actually did one of your EP. I think it was last year. I think was the EP release.
Yep, almost 2 years now.
Or maybe it was the end of 2022. And that was like kind of a, I felt like that was a kind of a more personal EP, but I loved it. But I loved this new song, Ape Shit, was awesome. And what I loved about this track was that it blended these genres. You know what I mean? Like your stuff is never really just normal. And not I don't want to say normal, but it's your stuff is always a little bit outside the box. It's never just thinking inside like a cube space. So I like that you're able to produce these kinds of songs that blend. Like this track has crazy synths and keys and stuff going on. You brought in collaborators for it. So, and you produce you write and you perform a lot of it, and you produce your own track, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I put it all together myself. Yeah, engineer, mix, master, record the vocals, recorded the features on it, my good friends. I put a lot of care and effort into everything I release. That's why I don't have very much out, because it takes so long,
Yeah, I remember we did a written interview, and you mentioned how you're, parts of the project, you're kind of like a perfectionist with it, which is cool. That's how it is, dude. I know a lot of people that are musicians, they're a lot of perfectionists, especially if they record a lot of their own stuff. How does a song like this, does it start with like you write the beats first, you produce the track first, and then you come in, you start thinking up lyrics and things like that afterwards? That's how
that's exactly it. Actually, I get the beat, I get a feel for it, just kind of sense the vibe, and then I go in and just like listen to it, listen to my voice on the auto tune, listen to my voice, how it sounds. Do I want to say it this way? I want to change my cadence a little bit. I just go in and see how it feels, basically. Like I'll try out like 6 different voices on it, high pitch, low pitch, blend the vocals, layer the vocals, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's kind of one of the things I want to make my staple as being an artist, is having vocals that are like very layered and they feel very thick.
Yeah, you got lush vocals with a lot of layers and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty safe to say, when you're in, this is like a huge creative outlet for you, obviously. And a lot of it, even a song like this, there's some personal attribute to it, so that this stuff means something to you. You know what I mean? Like you're doing it, basically you're not doing it, you're doing it for you. You know what I mean? And that's really the truth of it. And, and so you got like Pro Tools? What's your setup like? What do you use?
I'm using Logic. I'm just using a home studio setup. I'm using Logic Pro. Got a little AT2020, my Audio Technica, my old trusty. I've had it for a few years. I had it since I started making music back in like 2019. So it's kind of old. I need to upgrade, but it gets the job done and it sounds good. So.
Well, I mean, look, we've been, working with a lot of different people, a lot of mastering, stuff like that for a long time. And if there's one thing I've learned from myself and other people, is that it doesn't matter, especially in terms of like, so I have had people ask me like, oh, what kind of speaker should I get? What should I, dude, if you're mixing, first of all, just kudos to you for not even just like, but also mixing your own stuff. Like that's like, see, for me, I feel like mixing, because we've mixed a lot of other people's stuff, so mixing other people's stuff can even be, do you ever get to a point where like the track's done, you got yourself and you got a couple other people on it, so there's different textures vocally going on, you got synths, beats, bass, there's a lot going on in the track. When you listen, when the average person that's not a musician or an engineer, right, when they listen to a song, a lot of times they don't really think about that kind of stuff, all the work that goes into all the layers that are compiled on top of each other and stuff like that. If I'm mixing a track, sometimes, and I've seen other people do this too, after so long, sometimes it's like you don't even know if it's good. You go, is this, you got to walk away and take a break. So how was it difficult for you? What would you say to that? Do you think it's difficult for you to mix your own tracks like that?
I think it is difficult because everybody listens to music in their own way. Um, I think it's best to stay true to the track that you have in your head, and people who fuck with it will just fuck with it anyway, you know?
Right.
So I do put a lot of consideration into that. Another reason why it takes so long for, you know, me to drop music is because I listen on my headphones, I listen on my monitors here in my home studio, listen in the car. I like to listen on like my little portable speaker, my phone speakers, just to get that true representation of the sound that I want across all different platforms. So as many people that will fuck with it do fuck with it, you know. So it's
Yeah.
a tedious process, but it's worth it in the end. And that's where the fun is, you know, doing that. And yeah, I found like the least fun part is actually releasing it and like listening to it through the DSP. Not the DSP, the what's it called? Just like the like Apple Music and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know,
Like
through the
Spotify.
platform. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the quality is lowered when it's actually released. But yeah.
Right. And I've seen I've heard other people say the same kind of thing. And you know, I think for you, it's gotta be you know, a little bit difficult just because you're so close to the music, because you do pretty much everything aside from what the other collaborators are doing. You're doing everything on the track. You know what I mean? So you're so close to the music. For you know, so for people out there that are watching this right now, and it's like, look, you know, when you're mixing a track, I mean, Mark, he's going in there, you're listening to it in the car. You're listening to it now, first of all, for people that don't understand, when you listen to a track like this in headphones, it sounds completely different than when you listen to it in the car. So you got to make a choice between how the level and the thickness of the low end and the mids of just the bass of the track feels between the headphones and the car, so that you have a custom balance between the two. So everything feels right. So you're taking weeks. It seems like a weeks at a time to just for, so imagine how much work that is. So, I mean, I feel like this, you know, because for me, the kind of stuff that you do, the way that you produce and you write, and then you mix and you master the tracks. Like I mentioned before, people don't understand how much actual work goes into that, but they think you record a track, you throw it up on whatever, and, you know. But you know, this is like a real passion project for you, and I feel like that this is, and I love that there's you kind of unite all the art forms between recording and between basically writing the song, producing the song, and then mixing and mastering the song. You're taking on all the mixing is an art form, dude. You know, like, and you're taking all this on. But having said that, Apeshit is like a I guess like a prelude to something upcoming, right?
Yes, it's got a new project coming soon. It's called Lust for Life, L for L. It's kind of inspired by like some Instagram like groups that I've seen people talking about, like for like stuff like that, L for L. And I just kind of it's a project about like having fun, but also like the dark side of having fun. So I got like I think people are going to be surprised by the first track. I've kind of told people over and over, like, it's going to be like a bunch of fun songs. It's going to be stuff like that. But the first track is a little dark. It does switch into something more like hype after that. But it's about the dark side too, like the yin and yang, both sides, you know. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to release it. Hopefully coming in like a month or two. Got a lot of work to do still, but I have like probably half of it done.
Oh, there you go.
You know?
So yeah, I mean, like, after what we just discussed, I'm sure you do have a lot of work to do. So is it an EP or is it like an album? How many tracks?
I want to qualify it as an EP. I don't want to put out any like full length album for like a little bit until I get my footing as an artist. I have a bigger presence online on social media, and I have more connections to create something that I see as being worthy of titled an album. You know what I mean? So
right,
still just an EP project, I guess you could call it.
Cool, that's cool. I mean, look, EPs, you know, back in the day, I think EPs were signified by having either 6 tracks or less, or 15 minutes or less of music, one of those two things, or sometimes both of those two things. And you know, an EP like I apologize, I forget the title. What was the title of the EP from 2020? The end
Inflated
of
Ego.
No, was it Inflated Ego? The 6-track EP, 5-track. That EP, that was a crazy record. When you released that, I listened to that one a bunch, and it was like it felt longer than an EP. You know what I mean? There was a lot, because there was a lot of kind of like in depth. You get pretty in depth lyrically, but there like with how you and on that record too. I also enjoyed a lot of how you, I guess you call it like you phrased, the lyrical phrasing of it was cool too. I really like that. So I didn't realize, but I did listen to some of the other tracks that you released from then until this track as well. And I really like those two songs too. And you mentioned in the last interview about, how you were, watching the Chiefs, I think it was, and it was like, people were getting emotional on their interviews, and you just couldn't help but like kind of feed off of that, right?
Yeah. I was getting I take a lot of inspiration from like sports, just people that have reached like the highest level of like competition, whether that's sports, whether that is an artist, whether that is politicians, even, just people who are like the best of the best of the best. Right. I can definitely see myself as being someone that is the best of the best of the best. So I feed off of the energy of those people who have already achieved that, because I'm on that path,
I love that. That's some Rocky shit right there. I love that. I love it.
I appreciate it, man.
So in terms of so Lust for Life is the one that's coming up, hopefully in a few months, and it's going to be an EP. So for this track for Ape Shit, you have Shay and Mava that came on the track, right?
Yeah, Shay Wuam and Mava Fuego.
Right, Mava Fuego. So are you friends, or how did that collaboration work out?
Yeah. I went to high school with Shay Wuam. He's one of my good friends. He moved away for a little bit, but we reconnected when he moved back here to this city. And we reconnected. He's been doing his thing with music and with videos and dance. I took a lot of inspiration from what he's doing. It seems like he has a whole team around him, but it's just him, just like me. It's just him doing everything, doing videos, doing his lyrics, doing his songs, stuff like that. So it was great to work with him and like get a new feel, because he does a different kind of music too. Him and Mava Fuego, they do kind of Afro beats, more Caribbean style leaning music. Whoa. So I wanted to get just different flavor to my music, make it less stale, make it more out of the box, basically.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it would be, I think you're the only one that would consider it stale. For other people, because you're you, but for other people, but no, they did awesome on the track, and it did give the song a little extra flavor, indeed. You know what I mean? It did, for sure. It had a little more color, a little more flair. I feel like, this is going to be a project that digs, like you said, that the upcoming one. This is just a piece of it, but this track is pretty deep too, pretty detailed, I should say, lyrically, to say the least. So are Shay and Mava, on other tracks on the record, or just this one?
Just this one. Okay. I want to have different artists like around different tracks. I don't want to feature the same people over and over. Even though I'd love to work with them again, they're really good friends of mine. Oh, yeah. I like to have every song on my projects have like a different feel, maybe feel like it's a different genre or something like that. Right. So the project as a whole just keeps going. Like you don't feel like you're listening to the same thing for a long time. I think that's really important.
That's cool. You have kind of a different aesthetic per song and shit. Yeah. So are there or do you plan on, or are there already other collaborators for the rest of the tracks on the record so far?
Yeah, other collaborators on the way. Don't want to disclose just yet, because I may I may have a Omaha legend hopefully appearing, still in the works, but we'll see.
Okay, very cool. What about like playing live? Do you do live shows?
Not yet. Still working on that. Still working on the live performance. Just want to get the music down before I go live, because I feel like my first EP, there are some songs, like 2 songs on there that could really go live, but I feel like the project as a whole isn't ready for a live performance. But I feel like this next one will definitely be what I'm looking for when I go live. So,
what about music videos? Is there anything you're thinking about that?
Yeah, I need to get working on that too. I have a song coming out soon called Marc Willis. I think I'm going to do a video for that to accompany like the release of that. I think I'm going to do that and then release the project. So yeah, that is in the works too. Working on the music video.
So that track is going to be on the record.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously, Epshita. So both of these tracks will be. So you're planning on kind of doing like almost like a waterfall thing. They call it the waterfall. So you release a couple of tracks and then you release the full EP.
Exactly.
Build a good audience onto it. Very good. Very good. So you know, we did an interview. Like I mentioned before, we did a written interview with you once before, and there was something that stuck with me. You know, it's honest to God stuck with me. And because it was such a cool, because my creative thing is I envision things a lot. I picture things in my head a lot. So, I was, you know, when bringing up for this video interview, I still wanted to ask you like how it all started for you, like what turned you on to doing it. In the written interview, you mentioned that either for or around like your 4th birthday or Christmas, you were for something like that. You got a Crayola, like a colorful keyboard. And that was like a thing that kind of triggered, I mean, you're a kid, but still that's like maybe something that is that true? Like you got this keyboard.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Of course. Yeah. I was like 4 or 5 years old, maybe younger. It's one of my first memories for sure. I just got the Crayola keyboard. All the keys were different, like crayons. And I was on that shit for like all day long, man, just playing, you could actually it was kind of like an MPC, like a kid's MPC where you could like program, like do like little 2-step beats. Yeah. 4-step beats on it too, and play the keys on it. So it was, that was a big moment for me. One of my first memories, but yeah. Another thing is I actually, growing up, listening to a lot of my favorite artists, I became known as like a human iPod around my friends because I could recite like all the lyrics, like word for word and stuff like that. So I wanted to make my own music where I'm reciting what I feel, what I want to say word for word instead of somebody else's, just make my own imprint with music.
So. Oh, of course. To me, I love that though, dude. To me, that's like a cool thing because, having that little toy keyboard when you were just a little kid, and I love that you were like, oh, this is one of my first memories. That's like, that now look at you, you know what I mean? Like now you're someone that makes his own music, records his own music, produces his own music, releases his own mixes. And to think that it could have started basically with one of your core memories, this is part of your, so your parents getting you that keyboard when you were 4 years old has
changed my life.
And on that note, I did want to actually ask you. You mentioned, being kind of like being able to recite lyrics of all your favorite artists. Can you, like, off the top? I know this is gonna suck. You're gonna be like, dude, fuck you. Just listen. Hold on, though. Hold on. Off the top, okay. Just give me maybe like 5 or 6 of the top musical influences of all time for you. Off the top.
Hell yeah. Kanye. Of course, Kanye is always there. I don't like his current trajectory, his recent activity, but Kanye is always going to be up there for me. Travis Scott, Kid Cudi, those are the big 3. Kanye, Travis, Kid Cudi. Yep. After that, Childish Gambino and Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah. Wow, great mix.
Yeah, all over the place. I did mention Danny Brown in my written interview. Danny Brown's a big influence on me. Not so much in like the maybe the beats or like that, the musical aspect, but just the vocal creativity and the vocal inflections, just how free he is with his voice. I want to be like that, due to all kinds of different inflections, young thuggish, just all over the place. Who else? Honestly, I take inspiration from all kinds of different music. I listen to everything except country. I listen to everything except country. Electronic. I love Radiohead too. I love Interpol. They're like an older kind of mid 2000s band. Yeah.
Like a kind of like a gothy indie rock.
Shoegazy. I'm a big fan of shoegaze music.
That was another thing. Yeah, I remember that. You said in that one you were like you got a game like Rock Hero or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
Rock Band.
Hero? Yeah, Rock Band, and that's kind of what that's what opened you up to those other kind of genres of music.
Yep,
That's
yep. When I was
crazy.
14. Yeah, dude, it's like a connection to the Crayola keyboard.
Yeah.
Just getting another toy, music toy, opened me up to even more music. So yeah.
That's
Um,
cool, man.
yeah,
I
dude,
mean,
I played the guitar a lot, played the drums on it. Still play it to this day with my brother. A lot of fun.
you do. That's awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, I can tell, like I said in one of the first things I said in the interview, you're a lot of your stuff, some of it feels really current and stuff, but a lot of it kind of bends genres a bit, and and there's a good amount of it that's a little bit outside the box. I think Ape Shit is so far kind of like a step more in that direction where you're going, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to blend genres. And I like that because you made it really work. Oh, I can't explain it as well as an actual musician, but so yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for me to explain things to me like an actual musician, but the way that the way that the beats are for the track and the way the synths and the keys are for the track, and then the way the vocals are, how they kind of bounce off of each other. Like the vocals are in the pocket between the beats, and then the synths are in the pocket as well, and all of those kind of bounce off of each other in different ways. It's just it's not like what you expect, and but it's not like super like, oh, this is some crazy shit. I gotta, I can't listen to this unless on acid or something. It's just it's a little bit outside the box, and you're bending genres a little bit and having fun with it, and you're doing what I think what I like about Apeshit the most is that factor, is the simple factor that you can tell that this record, and hopefully it follows suit. For me, I hope that it follows suit with songs like Apeshit, is that it's not really conforming to any kind of like societal genre specific, it's more like, yo, I'm doing this to do it as an art form. I'm doing this for myself. Is it going to be catchy and sick? Yeah, it's going to be, but it's also going to be a little experimental, and it's going to be a little outside the box, and it's going to be a little bit like, whoa, but that's what I like about it, is that you listen to a song like Ape Shit, and when it's done, you kind of want to just like go back and listen to it again so you could catch everything again, and it's got like elements, like all the electronic elements. There's even like a kind of like towards, not really the end, but like there's like kind of a heavy drop in the track toward not at the very end, but towards the middle end. It's got a heavy drop to it, which is like reminiscent of like almost like classic deep house kind of music, where it has a big drop and it pounds when the drop comes in. So it's like, and the undertone of the song is like very expansive and vast. Like there's a lot of spaciousness in the underbelly of the track. So it's got like depth to it musically, you know what I mean? But it also has that synth up front and the beat up front that kind of hits hard. So it's got this really cool balance of like the vastness and the up close kind of edginess to it, that I think, I hope the rest of the record has those elements to it, because that's, to me, that's kind of what makes a song like Ape Shit work. Because like you said before, dude, think about this. You record Ape Shit. Well, I think I'll think about it. You record a song like Ape Shit, right? And then it's like, if the mix is different, then the song kind of doesn't work the same way, right? Or it doesn't work at all, maybe even. Like that's how important the fucking mix is with these songs, and people don't get that. So but you did. I mean, the way you mixed it was killer, dude, because it does have that deep open back, underbelly to it, where it feels expansive and big, but the upfront's the hard hitting edgy part of it. And you do that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you do that in the EP too. And that EP from last year, there was a couple of tracks that had the upfront hard hitting, like you're really paying attention to the lyrics. The beats are kind of heavy. So I think some songs you had a little kind of like not a distortion, but like effect on your vocal that made it even edgier, but meanwhile, behind the beat and behind the edginess, there was like this vast space, that not an empty space, but a musical space that was like kind of like synth pads or something, that were, and I love the way that you do that production wise. I think that's like, kind of like a staple thing of how you do your thing production wise.
Yeah.
One of your staples. And keep doing that shit, because that's kind of, I think that's what makes the songs kind of like hit the way that they do. you know?
Thank you.
So
Thank you, man. That's one of the biggest things I consider is going into my tracks, just making it feel big, making it feel wide, stuff like that.
yeah.
Reverb is my favorite effect, so I gotta I gotta scale it back sometimes. I gotta learn how to use it right. But no, I love reverb. Use too much a lot of the time.
Forget it, dude. Look, you said you listen to a lot of Radiohead, so no,
Right.
that's Radiohead is a band that uses a lot of reverb.
Right.
Very experimental, but I think that's cool. So I feel like, for you definitely pull in all your different influences when you're doing your music and you're doing your thing. And because you pull those, and they are from electronic and synth driven stuff and EDM and rock and experimental and hip hop and pop, and you're doing and house and dance, like that shit's in there too. There's house music in ape shit, like there's I think that, and that's what I mean by genre bending. Like it's not over the top, but it's not like reinventing the wheel either, but you're taking things and putting them into, and you're making it work and have a forward moving flow and have it be catchy and have it hit hard, but still have some depth to it. So, I really like this. I hope, I hope that you do a video for that next track. I think you should, dude. I think I think that for you, for what your goal is as an art, for one of your goals is as an artist, I think that's one of the key pieces of the puzzle that you want to take on next is doing a music video. Sure. And I know that that's not an easy feat because you're a perfectionist with your shit. You're not going to be any less of a perfectionist when it comes to making a music video. You're going to be maybe even deeper in, but either way, it's going to be sick. It's going to come out awesome because it's going to be your vision and you're not going to let it go short. So, I think that would be a great next step.
Hell yeah, I want to do a video for Ape Shit too. I got to work with Che and Mava on the scheduling. But yeah, we were talking about doing a music video for that too. See how that goes.
Do it, dude. Do a video for Ape Shit would be dope because you're doing really well in terms of how you release your stuff. And I think that because this is like my side of things. Yours, I'm not the most creative, but when it comes to the business side, are very good. So you're doing your release, the way you release things is really well, very, very, very good. I think that because Ape Shit's kind of a big banger, I think that being able to do a music video for that would give you kind of like a little bit of leeway to be like, all right, now I can. I think even for yourself, because the way that you are as a perfectionist, producing and writing all your own stuff, mixing and mastering all your own stuff, there's always a kind of a pressure on you. Like, all right, well, I got this much time. I better get back to it. You know what I mean? Like, I already released Ape Shit, now, this stuff's supposed to come out soon. It can't be 7 months until I release my next thing. And so doing a music video, though it's no easy feat, once that comes out, if you did it, let's say, for example, for Ape Shit or even the next track, you'd be able to give yourself that breathing room, and then you'd be able to sit down and focus. And I have a feeling that I don't know what you do, but I think during Christmas break, for example, you might be getting back into it a little bit. Is it going to take a little time for Christmas break to do some more music, or what?
Yeah, I got a busy December, man. I'm going to Vegas for my girlfriend's birthday next week. So that'll be a fun little trip, and then coming back, got to work, and then driving a little bit just to see the girlfriend's family and come back and see my family for Christmas. So don't have a lot of time to do music this month.
Awesome. So I thank you for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. I think this was a lot of fun. I think we got to dig a little bit deep. I appreciate you letting me touch on the Crayola keyboard thing and all the shit. There's certain things that I just I like that you got a little bit old school with it, and I like to get a little bit deep with it when it comes to someone like yourself that's doing a lot musically and what's sparked that in reality. So I appreciate you letting me get deep into it with you.
For sure.
Yeah, man. And we're looking forward to the next thing that releases. Definitely send it our way. And right now Ape Shit is out everywhere on all the major platforms. So everyone go check that out. And also there's a bunch of other singles and EP release as well on the Marc Willis Spotify. So check that out too. Thank you for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you for the time. This is an awesome experience. Great to talk to you guys. Look forward to talking in the future.